Tom Vasel here, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Hey guys, we are now in that wonderful time frame where we have 3 weeks where we're not going to any conventions. We just got back from the Cool Mini or Not convention in Atlanta, and we'll probably talk about that over the next couple weeks because what they did is they have about 30 games coming out over this year and a little bit of next, and we had a chance to play and look at several of those games that are coming out. And some of these are post-Kickstarter games, but most of them are games that are actually not going to Kickstarter, which is kind of a change of pace for Cool Mini or Not. So just a good chance to see those. We got to hang out with some of our friends that we meet at different conventions, and it was a really fun, relaxing time. And for those of you who came by and said hello to us, we really appreciate that. Now, we did some live streaming from Cool Mini or Not, and between that and many of the other videos that went up last week, there's been a lot of comments about our audio quality. There might even be some comments in that regard about this breakfast. And for that, a couple things. At the Cool Mini or Not, we just had really bad streaming capabilities, and it's really hard to fix stuff like that on the fly while streaming. And possibly it would have been better not to do it streaming, but we already started streaming, so it's kind of we'll try to fix that better for next time. The thing with our audio is that we really are trying to fix it. We have brand new microphones, but we're working with these microphones. This is the first time we've used these, and we're trying to figure it out and work with them. And so I just basically am begging your patience on that. I could have stuck with the stuff we had. The stuff we had sounded a little bit better than what we are doing now. But my goal is that in the long run, we will sound better. I promise that we do read the comments, and I have no problem with people saying, hey, the sound here is not good. Okay, that's fine. Tell me when the sound's not good. We'll try to fix it. But it is something that we are actively working on. And I guess sometimes the comments where people say, oh, well, you had all this Kickstarter money and you're not working on it. No, we really are. We always want to put out the best possible product that we can do. And hopefully by the end of 2016, you'll be able to look and say, hey, this is better. And I hope that even now the video quality is better. So those are just different things, and I love feedback because we look at it. Sometimes I'll say, you know what, we're going to stay the course. When we did Board Game Breakfast for the first couple of weeks, I got a lot of negative feedback. But I said, let's stay the course. And now it seems that there's a decent amount of people who enjoy it. But sometimes I get enough negative feedback where I go, okay, bad idea. We won't do that again. But I'm not going to apologize for trying new stuff. I'm always going to try different things on this channel, and I hope that it makes the channel better. Other things, this week the Gen Con event registration opens up, and we have an event there that we would love you to come to. Now, last year the event sold out very quickly. I don't think it will sell out as fast this year because we have 1,000 seats at it. Will we even have 1,000 fans at Gen Con? But just in case, it's at 2 o'clock on Friday. We're doing a live show. I'm still working on what's exactly going to be that show. There will be Q&A and some other fun stuff. So a contest and things. So we will try to make it a very entertaining hour and a half of fun. So pick that event. On and other news, Origins, which is only a little bit over a month away, really, is we also have an event there. That's at 9 o'clock on Saturday. And it's important that I emphasize that one because that event is actually not in the Origins event schedule. But it is an actual event. We will be doing that one at 9 o'clock. It's right after the Origins Awards are. We have a huge room for that one. We're going to be doing a game show. I'm getting that one ready too. And then even before Origins, the UK Gaming Expo. For those of you who are going to be going to that, me and Sam will be attending there this year. We'll be doing a live show. We'll also be doing a live Q&A. So both of those will be fun and entertaining, I hope. And if you would like to meet us, hopefully you swing by and find us. I'll wear one of my hats so that we're easy to find. And we'll be talking a little bit more specifically about that over the next couple weeks as we get closer to that. And then finally, the cruise, which is still in December. We are down to less than 30 rooms that are left. And I actually know several of those rooms are already being booked as we speak. I know different people who are getting those. And suddenly, a lot of people want to get rooms. So just keep that in mind. We hope that you want to come on that. And I have some pretty cool tricks up my sleeve. I think that will make that one really fun. All right, that's enough about the Dice Tower. Let's now talk about gaming news. Fantasy Flight has announced a new X-Wing set, Millennium Falcon, which they've already done. This is the Millennium Falcon from episode 7 with many of the new characters, with Rey and Finn and all that jazz. Now, this is interesting. I'm curious how many people are going to buy another Millennium Falcon. I guess so. If there was any problem, I guess, with Star Wars Episode 7, there was not enough ships in it for Fantasy Flight to add to X-Wing. There wasn't enough new kinds of ships. That might happen, and we might see more as we in Episode 8, or even in the new movie that's coming out in 2016. Who knows? But anyway, if you want this, there's your chance. Seafall has opened up pre-orders. I really think Seafall will be one of the biggest game events of this year. So. And they're also showing off some of the art of it online. I'm trying to, again, not look at it much because I want to go into it completely unspoiled. We see some pictures and some more information. Pretty soon, Upper Deck's going to be releasing Big Trouble in Little China Legendary and The Crow Fired Up, which is not a legendary game, but some game based on The Crow. The Big Trouble in Little China is a movie I really enjoy, and I'm looking forward to seeing this game, although the cover looks a little wonky. I guess the movie's wonky, so I don't know. There's just something off on the cover. I'm not sure what it is. Fantasy Flight, or I'm sorry, not Fantasy Flight, F2Z, I'm not sure I got those confused, has announced Pandemic Iberia. This is a pandemic that's a historical type pandemic in Spain. There's actually named diseases. They're not going to be the yellow, blue, black, and red. They actually are specific diseases. There are railroads. This is a limited time print run, although I'm curious if it will sell out fast. Will they say, okay, we'll print another one? We'll have to wait and see on that. But hey, more pandemic. Is pandemic about to start? You know, the dams are going to burst wide open. We're going to see lots of pandemic stuff because we have Pandemic Cthulhu and who knows. Magic the Gathering has caused some problems for Wizards of the Coast. There is currently a big suit in process where some of the judges are suing them for not being paid. Essentially, they are saying, we are working here, we are not being paid minimum wage, whatever. Wizards has often paid people with product or vouchers or things like that. This is interesting, not because I care about suits as much, but I'm curious what will happen in the industry. Does this mean for game companies, if they get volunteers to help them run booths at conventions, will they have to pay those volunteers minimum wage? And if they do pay them minimum wage, normally now they provide them entrance to the convention. Sometimes they help with hotel rooms and airplane tickets. Will they stop helping with those other things? And if so, is this going to hurt people trying to get volunteers? Because that's a very expensive proposition to do that. I'm curious what people think about it. Is Wizards of the Coast being cheap here? Should they be paying these people? Are these people just, are they asked, they're going to do it anyway? They love it. I'm curious. I have no really strong opinion on this, but I think that the results of this suit are definitely going to have repercussions on the industry as a whole. Days of Wonder announced a mini expansion for 5 tribes, the Thieves and Nakala. Just adds, I think, 6 cards or so to the game. Another genie and some Thieves cards that are going to do different things. All right, let's go over to Suzanne with the Kickstarter news.
Happy breakfast, everybody. There are big projects and small projects, and a project I'm super excited about. So let's take a look at what's happening in our crowdfunding world today. 2 IP-based games on Kickstarter are wrapping up hugely successful campaigns soon. So just in case you haven't seen them yet, Dark Souls the board game is a cooperative game based on the hugely popular video games. The board game is a sort of dungeon crawl with playable characters, and it comes with a ton of beautiful minis, and it can be played solo. Dark Souls the board game can be yours for a pledge of £80. And the Dresden Files cooperative card game has players teaming up to solve supernatural cases together, but it won't be easy. Based on the popular books by Jim Butcher, the Dresden Files game includes a ton of fan service, and it's even unlocked a crossover expansion with the Sentinels of the Multiverse, and it can be yours for $39 plus shipping. And on the other end of the spectrum is Blend Off from Thunderworks Games, which is a light real-time dice rolling game in which players are racing to fill smoothie orders, complete with a blender card. In this quick, kid-friendly game, players have to roll their fruit die to nab up ingredients to complete those orders before their opponents do. And the game includes 3 different modes which adjust the competitive level, making the game even more accessible to very young players. Blend Off has a cool theme, a fun aesthetic, and comes with some really great looking custom dice and wooden fruit bits. You can get a copy of this game for a pledge of just $19. Dale of Merchants 2 is a quick-playing deck-building game in which players are competing to build up their merchant stalls in order to become the trade master. Cards can be played for their ability or used to purchase more cards, but ultimately the cards have to be played into an ascending tableau as your merchant stall in order to win the game. This is a standalone sequel game that features more cute anthropomorphic animal art and comes with 6 brand new decks that can be mixed and matched with the original game for a ton of variability. You can get a copy of Dale of Merchants 2 for a pledge of $22 plus shipping. Quinna Games is reviving Vanuatu for a beautiful second edition that features a complete art and graphics overhaul. Vanuatu is a worker placement game that has a few clever twists in which you'll be fishing and trading resources and trying to attract tourists to your little archipelago. Now, this may sound like a fairly standard Euro-style strategy game, but be aware, Vanuatu has a lot of player interaction and it can get pretty cutthroat. Now, for those of you who recall the fulfillment issues with the original Vanuatu, be aware that Quinna Games had nothing to do with those campaigns, but they are willing to try to help unfulfilled backers from the original crowdfunding efforts, and that's pretty cool. You can get a copy of Vanuatu for a pledge of €39, which includes 2 mini expansions, but you can also add on the well-regarded American Rails game as well. And last but not least, JBM Press is bringing us some cool accessories with their gamer badges. These 2-inch diameter iron-on patches let gamers showcase their skills and achievements, from being a rules lawyer to attending a convention. And if you're not sure where to put your badge, you can always add on an actual badge sash. And if you want the look of a sash, but not all the actual sashiness, you can actually get a t-shirt with the sash printed on it. Personally, I'm hoping the campaign hits the vinyl sticker stretch goal. You can pledge for an individual badge, or for a pledge of $25, you can get the entire Series 1, which features 10 different gamer badges, and they have more sets planned in the future. Okay, that's all I've got for you this show. I hope something caught your eye, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
There's an old saying, winners never quit and quitters never win. But is it ever okay to quit in a board game because you clearly can't win? I think the conventional idea of gamesmanship is that you shouldn't do that and you should play a game to conclusion. However, if the contest has already been decided in the first few moves, there's no need for a long, drawn-out humiliation when you can just graciously concede and then move on. Now, I think the difference in quitting and when it's okay and when it isn't is in a 2-player game, yeah, then it's okay. Because then it's a concession. It's not necessarily quitting in a huff. Like if you're playing a 5-player game and there's 4 other people and you're just the one doing badly, then that can ruin the game for 4 other people, and it will ruin the dynamics if you just storm off halfway through or stop paying attention and pout really passive-aggressively and just play around on your phone the whole time, like I did that one time watching when we were playing in the Year of the Dragon. Of course that's bad gamesmanship. Quitting is also probably okay in very, very long games if things go badly really early on. Like, for example, once I was playing Fleet Captains with a friend of mine, and one of his ships got caught in, I can't remember if it was the Tychon's Rift or a black hole. But the thing with these is you get stuck in one, and if you can't make a certain test, you can't get out there. You can't get out of it. And it was impossible for him to be able to make the roll. And so his ship was stuck there the whole time. And the thing with that game, if you have a ship blown up, you can bring another one in, an even better one, the next round. But if you get stuck, there's no resolution. And so we realized the game was broken, it wasn't going to work, we had to just start over. So, I think those are some examples where quitting is okay. Really long games, 2-player games. Now, what do you think? When is quitting okay? When isn't it okay? Have you had good examples where quitting a game was successful? Or maybe examples where it was terrible? Put it in the comments section below. And we will catch you next time.
Hey there, this is Mike with the Board Game Makeover. In this week's episode, which is week number 3 of a 5-part series called Games on a Plane, I'm going to show you one of my favorite games I play with my daughter called Roll For It. Very simple game to play, lots of fun, and I'm going to show you how I rethemed it into Roll For It Simpsons Edition. One of my favorite themes, of course. I'm also going to show you a very clever way that I came up with to hold the cards in place. Because cards, especially on sleeves, can go everywhere. How do you play this? I'm going to show you what I did. This new mechanism is called Cards on a Stick. Patent not pending. Roll for It Simpsons Edition was made using lots of magnets. These are those magnets I use on a lot of these planes on a games. I took 2 magnets, put them together like this, and then just added a screw and a dowel. And I put a hole in the card so that it would hold like that. And there you have it. The dice from the Simpsons dice game work perfect in this situation. And I really like these dice holders. These came from Scoville Labs' latest expansion called In the Lab, I believe. And I just cut them because the punch out was perfect for that. I added a piece of magnet to the back. And it's sticky right now, but even if the sticky goes away, it'll still hold them in place. All of the cards were made from Bart Simpson comic book covers, and there was plenty of them out there. I added the graphic of the dice here to correspond with the Roll For It cards, and then I created the backs just using the Roll For It box art as well as integrating Simpsons artwork into it. So there you have it. Roll For It Simpsons Edition. So Roll For It Simpsons Edition turned out way better than I even anticipated because of the fact that I came up with these little card holders, and the dice are perfect for this. The dice trays, they hold the dice really well. I don't know what else I can do to improve this. So thanks for watching the Board Game Makeover. We'll see you next time.
Hey folks, Tom Vasel here.
Jason Levine.
Today our question comes from Andy, and he was arguing with a friend about interaction in Dominion. His friend said that Dominion was very interactive, and he said, oh, it is interactive because you can buy cards out that other people want and play attack cards in other people. And then he wanted to know what we thought about that, and are there examples of games that are not very interactive?
Well, I don't think Dominion is very interactive. I think it is more a, multiplayer solitaire, as we call it. Yes, there's attack cards, but even if someone else is playing attack cards, I still do my own thing, so I don't consider it a very interactive game in that sense.
I agree. I mean, even with attack cards, I mean, you could add more attack cards, but to me, that actually diminishes Dominion. When, like, I was just talking to someone about this the other day, and I'll say with Dominion, I will never play with more than 2 attack cards, and very rarely even with 2, because I think the game is best when you're just doing your own thing. Yes, you're kind of watching what other people are buying, and there's, it's not just solitaire. But the term multiplayer solitaire does come to thought. And that happens with many different deck builders. Thunderstone has a similar feel to it. Many deck builders follow that route, and many Euro games in general. Now, there is interaction in some, but one of my favorite games, Race for the Galaxy, has the only interaction is you see what other cards people have played.
And then you're doing your own thing.
And then you do your own thing. And you know what? There's a time and a place for that. Sometimes I just want to do my own thing.
Exactly. I mean, one of my favorite games is Princes of Florence, and the only time that you're interacting is during the auctioning of the pieces at the beginning of a round. The rest of it is you're playing your own pieces on your own board and building your own little palace and settlements area. And to me, I like that. I mean, sometimes I like doing my own thing and trying to figure out my part of the puzzle while having minimal interaction with the other people.
Right, the other people are there because there might be an auction, or there might be some cards that go back and forth, or someone might place their worker where you were going to place it, and I like that. But I don't know that I want to play a game where you had no interaction. There are games like that do exist. Maybe like where they call it a number and everyone writes a number on the sheet, like quicks and things like that. But for the most part, straight up interaction, negotiation. Sometimes you're not really in the mood for that, and so. Even though Dominion has a lot of attack cards, there's a lot of attack cards in it, but the majority of the cards are not attack cards and you're doing your own thing. So I would say Dominion is minimally interactive.
Me too. I consider it one of the multiplayer solitaire games, and a phenomenal one at that. I mean, we just discussed Dominion a few weeks ago on our Q&A, and it's still one of the best deck builder, engine builder kind of games out there. Obviously defined a genre, and no, but it's not really a interactive game.
All right, well that's that. Hey folks, we need more questions. Send them to us at dicetower@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
Jason Levine.
Hey everybody, welcome to the 101. Well, in an overwhelming victory, it was Shadows of Brimstone, and Myth came pretty close. So Shadows of Brimstone moves on to the second round. Now this week, it's a little different because we have 3 sci-fi dungeon crawlers that are going to come into this and then we are going to go right into the second round. So this is it for the first round. So we have Dungeon Saga, which is kind of a newer game, but has really built up some momentum. They're going to be taking on none other than Space Hulk, which is an all-time classic in my book, and one of my favorite games of all time. Also, it's going to be Doom versus Gears of War. So you guys have to vote on two of them. Either Space Hulk versus Dungeon Saga, or Gears of War versus Doom. Now, I'm going to update everything on BBG, and also I'm going to put the names of the 3 winners of a $10 gift certificate to Cool Stuff on there for their best comments of last week, and they'll all be written out, and you guys can check that out. So, we're done for another week, and we're finally done with the first round. And next week, we'll be moving on to the second round, and we'll be speeding this up a bit so we can get back to doing some painting like we were supposed to do. So, until next time, I'm Rob Warren. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.
Hi, my name's Dave Adams. Welcome to Good Game, Better Gamers. For the last 2 episodes, we've looked at my experiences with Antoine Bowser's Ghost Stories and the idea of learning to fail well. Now I want to look at some of the benefits for us for being good at failing. Psychologists are starting to explore this topic of grit. It's something that we've always named and had an appreciation for, but never really explored. This idea that we can push through things, that we can face adversity and actually hang in there, rigorously holding on to those things that are most important. Now, I think that's evident by the fact that it's not just my sheer luck of the game that's causing me to fail. Many people have just the same probability and just the same luck going on in the game, but they manage to succeed. So for me, I have to come to terms with that. I need to understand the game better and learn it well. Now, grit is closely related to resilience. Resilience is the ability to adapt and respond to stressful situations. Whereas grit will just clench its teeth and bear it through it. Resilience will ebb and flow, it'll be flexible, it'll find ways around problems, it will look for different solutions. Now, the final thing I want to cover before finishing up on this topic is that failing well helps build creativity. Creativity isn't just staring at a blank piece of paper and coming up with something inspirational. Often creativity comes from dealing with restraints. So each time I fail at Ghost Stories, I'm looking for new solutions, new possibilities. I'm looking to use my abilities differently, and I'm coming up with what are essentially creative options. Board games provide lots of opportunities for us to expand our thinking, to expand our understanding, and to grow in both intellectual and emotional intelligences. Thanks for listening. I've been Dave Adams. Until next time, enjoy your breakfast.
Dice Hour this week, I'll be reviewing another slate of games. I'm going to be doing Alan's Adventureland, Apple Pop, a game called Heroes, some interesting new games we're going to be talking about over the course of this game. I'm also going to be talking about my top 10 games that start with the letter T and the top 10 games that start with the letter U. U was actually a harder list to make than you might think. We're also going to be doing another talkback. The reception has been pretty positive. There will be no Zooms in this talkback. We'll also be doing a top 10 list, our top 10 games, multiplayer games, that play well with 2 players. So you're looking at a game going, okay, I want to play these games, but I only want I'm only playing with one other person. Is this game good for that? I'm going to tell you my 10 favorite in that regard. And Sam and Z will be joining me there too. You'll see some other things coming up this week. So that's all the stuff going on. You can find out, of course, lots of podcasts and stuff. All of the Dice Tower Network podcasts, when they put out a new podcast, they update it at dicetower.com. So you can go there and you can see what games the different podcasts talk about and go back and forth. Check that out there. Let's keep going.
Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, finishing up my list of the top 5 most important board game design elements, according to my opinion. This is the official list, but keep in mind I once faked a garage fire to get out of a game of Ticket to Ride, so really, how trustworthy can my opinion be? Well, so far we've covered numbers 5 through 2. And now it's time for the number one most important board game design element, the game mechanisms/rule set. Now, why is this the number one most important thing? Did I just pull this topic randomly out of a hat? No. That was number 3. The reason why a game's mechanisms/rules are the most important element is because a game can fail in every other category, having a meaningless name, generic components, minimal, lackluster artwork, and paper thinniest of themes. But if its gameplay is strong, intriguing, engaging, then the game will stand the test of time. For example, let's apply Twilight Struggle to this checklist. Now, this game's title is a bit ambiguous. I mean, it could be referring to the clash of political ideals that influenced the conclusion of the Cold War, and it could be a game about trying to prevent the sun from setting. So, intriguing name, but ambiguous. And the components and the artwork, they're modest and serviceable. They're indicative of the era in which the game was published. And the theme, that's a historical political confrontation, which, while it works fantastically for this game, isn't imaginative in its creative originality. So, why then is this the second highest ranked game of all time on BoardGameGeek.com? Because the rules and the mechanisms continually win people over to this game. Oh, I hear the same conversation about Twilight Struggle play out all the time. You haven't played? Oh, you have to play this game. Once you get past the graphic design and the components and get into the rules, you'll love it. This underscores the importance of the rules, because that's the element of Twilight Struggle that brings players back to this game time and time again. And that's why the most important element in board game design is the mechanisms. Presenting the players with a set of actions that are logical within context, intriguing to discover, and enjoyable to perform. But what's your opinion on this? Do you agree that that's number one? Do you disagree? Did you eat a sandwich today? If so, let me know in those comments below.
Hi guys, I'm Ashley from Board Gamer Girl, and this is my board game of the week. It's Deep Sea Adventure! So, this little game here is about going on a deep sea adventure. It's a push-your-luck game by Oink Games, and look at it, it's just so cute, that beautiful artwork, I love it. So I played this a few weeks ago with some friends at a board game cafe, and I fell in love with it. I had to add this to my collection, like, straight away. It was so much fun. So the way it works is you are all in a little submarine at the bottom of the ocean, and you've got to get out there, try and get some loot, and then make it back to the submarine before you run out of oxygen. So I guess what I wanted to talk about, why I just think this game is so much fun, is because there's just this amazing atmosphere when you're playing it. I think probably a lot of push-your-luck games kind of have this, but basically, everyone's kind of cheering each other on. There's almost a stand-up moment. You want to see how far can you get. Oh, I need to roll a 6. Can I get the 6? Can I make it back in time? Can I get to the end? Can I get all the treasure? What can I get? Am I going to die? It's crazy. But it is a lot of fun. I haven't had a bad experience with this one yet. Everyone seems to love it. It's just a fun time, and it's really cute. Look at this artwork. I mean, yeah, I love it. And it's small next to my head. It's so small. It's up to 6 players, which is fantastic, so I love that. There's just a lot of great things about this one. So I guess check this one out if you're looking for a little push-your-luck game that is, simple but really, really fun and has a great, great feeling, and, it's just beautiful. So check this one out, and if you've played it, let me know what you think of it. See you guys later.
As I said, I went to Cool Mini or Not convention this past weekend, but I made sure to be back on Sunday because Sunday was Mother's Day. And Mother's Day is a pretty big deal, especially for my wife, who has been a mother many, many times. and we had a very good Mother's Day. But you know, with it being Mother's Day, I thought of my own mother, Deborah Vasel, who is just, well, I won't say her age, but she's quite young for being a grandmother of, I think there are now 14 grandkids or so, which is quite a bit. My mother is, I wanted to give her some credit here in this episode because she is directly responsible for me being interested in board gaming. When I was a kid, my parents made the decision not to have a TV in the house. I saw TV at other people's houses, at my grandparents' house and things like that, but we did not have a TV. And you can argue against that decision, I suppose, but I never felt too badly about it because I learned to read at a very young age. I read a lot of books, and we played a lot more games. The internet did not exist at that point in time, and I played computer games once in a while, but still, it was about board gaming, and my mom was a big proponent of playing these games. Now, my mom was not some visionary who found these new and unusual games. No, she was a big fan of party games, and so I played all sorts of party games, from Picture Picture to Balderdash. We also played a lot of Uno. She introduced me to Monopoly, which at the time I thought was amazing. And she allowed me to hunt down other games. My parents are directly responsible for getting me Scotland Yard and Stratego, which brought me into this world of, wow, strategic games. And when I found games that were in thrift stores that were different, like the Avalon Hill games and other games, she was one who allowed me to get them. My mom was a big fan of playing games to have fun. They had zero tolerance for sore losers, and it was never about winning games. We sure tried to win, and we had bragging rights when we won, but it was never that big of a deal. It was always about just a hilarious time. Every Balderdash game that we ever played devolved into just stupidity as people wrote crazy and weird answers rather than just trying to win. And my mom was almost always the leader in that regard. We played games with my grandparents who loved Dutch Blitz, and we played games with other people. My parents were people who were always concerned about others who did not have many friends or who did not have families, and they were constantly inviting people over to the house. And when people come over, they did the adult thing and talked for a while, but then they would also play games. And that was something that we would be involved with. And my dad worked really hard. I was one of 5 kids, and he worked hard to support us and was very tired, but she would get him, and they would play games with us. And I really can't sit there and go, I remember a couple times when I played games with my parents. It was innumerable times that we played games in so many different styles of games, from abstract strategy games to party games. And I really remember those times. They were loud. They were fantastic, from us screaming as we played Pit near midnight on New Year's Eve. That was like a tradition that we would do. From the hilarious Balderdash games to playing King's Court, a checkers style game, to me playing Battleship and Stratego and Fortress America and all these Solar Quest. Really a lot of great games. And so when I went to college, I took a couple card games with me to college, and I even tried to start a board game club at college. And that was a direct result of what my parents had installed in me. My mom is a loud, just very, when she's in the room, and especially when a game's going on, she is just louder than life to some degree. Most of the Vasels are. I am actually not the loudest of the Vasel family. But we are, when you see a Vasel family game, you think that we all hate each other, but we're having a great time yelling and insulting each other and just really going to town. And my mom was the one who organized that and really installed that into us. My mom has some pretty advanced cancer right now, and she almost died this past week. They had an operation. They were able to remove the tumors, and she will recover from that. But the prognosis for the immediate future doesn't really look that good. And so I wanted to do a shout out to her. I don't know that she watches the Dice Tower very much, but she is one of the main reasons that the Dice Tower exists. Because if I hadn't learned all those games, I wouldn't have thought of, hey, I should play games with my family. Because it's something that my family taught me was to tend, when I had my own kids, to play games with them. And me and my mom certainly do not agree on everything. In fact, we disagree on many, many things. But we definitely agree on the importance of playing games and having a really good time. and I love her dearly. And I just wanted to take this time with Mother's Day, just coming in the past, and just saying what a big inspiration she was on my life. And I know also in the lives of my brothers and sisters and many others, and I appreciate that very much. Mom, happy Mother's Day. And to all those out there, all mothers and fathers and surrogate mothers and surrogate fathers, you may not have any kids of your own, but you're the person who goes and shows other kids how much fun it is to have a game. Hey, we appreciate you. I said in my church this morning that even when I left my mom, wherever I went, there was always somebody who became my mom. And to all those people, I appreciate you. Many people appreciate you. You are the undersung heroes. Thanks so very much.
The Commonwealth of Puerto Rico is a tropical paradise, but is in desperate financial trouble. Last week, the government could not pay more than $370 million in bond payments that were due, leaving Puerto Rico completely in the hands of hedge fund managers. Billionaire hedge fund managers who have called on Puerto Rico to lay off teachers and close schools so that the island can pay them the billions it owes. US Congress has been debating for months now on a plan to give Puerto Rico the power to restructure its debts. But representatives don't seem all that close to a solution. If Congress fails to authorize a mechanism to restructure Puerto Rican debts, the millions of people in Puerto Rico will continue to suffer. This week I'm going back to colonial times. This week I am playing, you guessed it, Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, players assume the roles of colonial governors on the island and try to make points by building buildings and shipping goods back to the old world. When it is your turn, you choose one of 7 actions. Make room for new colonists, plant crops like corn or coffee, refine sugar in your brand new refinery, sell tobacco for cash, or let the captain sail away with your indigo. What I really like about Puerto Rico is whatever action you choose, all the other players get to do that action as well. But the choosing player gets a bonus. So it doesn't matter whose turn it is, you are always engaged. There are different routes that can lead you to victory, making each game exciting and unique. It has been around for more than 10 years, and I hope that the real Puerto Rico will regain its financial health and be again as solid as the game Puerto Rico is. Thumbs up for Puerto Rico. For Board Game Breakfast, my name is Dave Luza, and this is Playing the News.
Hello, welcome back. My name is Niels Souls Brettspiele, and in the best and the worst, we are talking today about Wings for the Baron from Victory Point Games. My favorite part on Wings for the Baron is that you only have 5.5, let's say, even if you have 6 cards, let's say 5.5 actions. Build more factories, espionage, roll and steal some technology or copycat, design if you have the right card, add another design, research, draw cards, or bank. Bank is a really cool mechanic, I explain it in a second, and focus effort is just getting more out of this ones. However, bank is a really cool mechanic, let's say, when you have low gold and a lot of paper money. You know, inflation is really hard in this age, then you have to go to the bank to change a little bit gold into money into gold. That's a cool, really good mechanic. So I really like that. The bad thing on that is, and this is also really nice to know, so espionage, for an example, needs a die, so you have to roll a die to steal technology. Depends on the technology, but the good technology, the higher technology, you need to roll sometimes a 4, a 5, or a 6. So luck is involved, and I would say if you have a 50-50, if it's a 4, 5, or 6 you have to roll, it's high. And when you draw cards, there's also luck involved. And that is, sorry, a little bit too much for my personal opinion. Thanks for watching my best and worst from Wings for the Baron, Victory Point Games. My name is Niels Souls Brettspiele, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Summer is just around the corner here in North America, and if where you live is anything like where we live, that means spending more time outdoors. Whether it's a weekend at the cottage, a picnic in the park, or just spending some time with a beverage on your favorite patio, being outside doesn't mean you can't also play games. Component material is a key element when thinking about what game to play outside. Games that are made of plastic or wood are going to be waterproof, and they've probably got heavy enough pieces that they're not going to blow away when a sudden gust of wind hits. Games like Quirkle, Hive, The Duke, Kulami, Animal Upon Animal, Jenga, these sorts of games are sturdy enough that they're not going anywhere. Sometimes a substitution or a modification of the components is what's required. If you're a fan of Rummy-style card games, try getting Rummy Cub instead. The plastic tiles are waterproof and they're not going anywhere, unlike your deck of playing cards. With cardboard tile games, assuming that the tiles are heavy enough, they probably won't go anywhere, but you're going to want to spray them with some Varathane or Minwax Crystal in order to protect them from those sudden sun showers that may occur. And if your tiles aren't quite heavy enough, try gluing washers or pennies to the back of them to give them the extra weight they need to withstand the wind. Many classic games that have withstood the test of centuries are also built to withstand the weather. Games like backgammon, checkers, chess, Nine Men's Morris, Mancala, or even Mahjong. They've lasted centuries, maybe even millennia. They can stand your picnic. Dice games, especially ones that don't require pen and paper for scoring, make another excellent choice for outdoor gaming. Steve Jackson's Zombie Dice or Dino Dice, Reiner Knizia's Picomino, which uses a mix of dice and plastic tiles, Blue Orange's Yam Slam, Sid Sackson's classic Can't Stop. All these games are going to survive the outdoors, and they're a lot of fun too. So, did we miss your favorite outdoors compatible game? If so, post about it in the comments below or tweet us on Twitter @SnakesandLattes. And remember, if the weather ever turns really ugly, there's always your local board game cafe. For a different take on cottage games, why not follow the link that's appearing magically on your screen and give a listen to Senior Snakes game guru Jonathan Moriarty's Snakescast episode on the same topic.
Well, folks, that looks like that's it for this week. Hey, today I'll be doing a live Q&A at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So come and ask questions there. We'll have a good time, hopefully. And if you have things that you want to know about, and I can tell you about the Dice Tower or life in general, I'll be doing that. I think maybe in a week or two I'll bring my wife on again, and we'll have I'll let you guys ask her questions. Lots of fun stuff coming out from the Dice Tower channel this week, or at least I can hope so. We have some really cool new games we're going to be showing off, or at least a really cool new expansion, I think. So anyhow, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. This has been Board Game Breakfast. Have fun gaming.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.